Okay.
Okay. Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about the many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics, such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to read the bios of Jeffery Olsen and Galen Call. Jeffery C. Olsen. Olsen is an international #1 best-selling author who inspires audiences globally with his intriguing story of perseverance and inner strength. After a horrific automobile accident took the lives of his wife and youngest son, also inflicting multiple life-threatening injuries to Jeff, including the amputation of his left leg, he found the courage to survive over 18 surgeries and eventually heal both physically and emotionally. At the time of his accident, Olsen had incredible out of body and near death experiences, bringing him insight not common in today's world. Jeff has integrated these experiences into everyday practices, inspiring others to heal from the inside out, embracing the divine power within them and all around them. Jeff has appeared on Fox Nation, Gaia TV, Coast to Coast, iHeartRadio, and the Shift Network, to name a few. Professionally, Jeff is a highly decorative creative director who leads teams in producing award-winning work. Jeff has a powerful connection to nature and loves being outdoors, connecting with the profound beauty and wisdom of Mother Earth and Father Sky. Among his many accomplishments, he is most fulfilled by simply being a father and trusted friend. I'm also thrilled to say that he will be a keynote speaker at our upcoming conference in August, and he happens to be one of the nicest men I have ever met. I just love you, Jeff. Galen Call. Galen and her family experienced the sudden and unexpected passing of their oldest son, Weston, on August 12, 2018. Since then, she has chosen a path of learning about all things related to metaphysical spirituality. The result to date has been felt in profound healing and growth, which has transformed her world view of life on earth and in the afterlife. In finding Helping Parents Heal, she found a loving, supportive community which opened the door to being of service to fellow parents as an affiliate leader, both by Zoom and in person. In her studies, she discovered one common thread among many which stood out over and over: the energetic vibration necessary for establishing relationships with those across the veil. She continued to open doors with curiosity, travel, and academic focus, and found the Four Winds Society, one of the world's most renowned establishments in training ethical practitioners, shamanic energy medicine. The field of energy and the body of energy that surrounds each one of us has taken on new meaning. Today, she is a certified practitioner and remains in class studying master level courses, as well as another complementary path, Healing Touch, the energy healing program of healingbeyondborders.org. She is a wonderful person, and I'm so blessed to call her a dear friend. So, without further ado, please join me and Kathy in welcoming Jeff and Galen. Welcome. And you're both muted. There you go.
Gosh, thank you, Irene. What a beautiful introduction, and what an honor to be with everyone tonight and to be here with Galen and what we have to discuss. And Galen and I are going to do this together. We're going to kind of ping pong back and forth, but in the tradition of shamanism, indigenous spirituality, we're going to open sacred space. Even though we're all here on Zoom and we're in our own spaces, we're going to open sacred space. And this is a traditional practice. It's done many different ways, but the way we're going to do it tonight, and the way that I've always been taught, and Galen and I have been taught together individually, but the same type of principle, is we open sacred space by honoring the four directions of the compass: the east, the south, the west, and the north. And then also honoring Mother Earth and Father Sky. And then going into the seventh direction, which is within. And so we invite you all to join us as we do this. And I will do a direction, and Galen will do a direction, and I'll do a direction. And, you know, traditionally, if we were together, gosh, we would join hands and connect. We would actually face the directions as we do it. I've seen people kneel on the earth as they honor Mother Earth. I've seen them reach to the sky as we honor Father Sky. And we just invite you all to do this, even in your own space, even in your own chair. But I'm going to start, and I'm going to start to the east. And I start to the east because it is the place of the rising sun. It's the element of air. It's the energy of air, of our breath, of our first breath, of our beginning, of our coming into this dimension. So with that, I invite you just, close your eyes, be present, and to the sacred winds of the east, the place of the rising sun, the place of light, the place of our beginning, the element of air, and the herb of tobacco. We open sacred space. We open a space where we can be honest, where we can be true, where we can connect with each other in authenticity and in unity, that we might begin to touch on and begin to experience the oneness that we are. And as we breathe the breath of life, that we might realize that life is a gift, that every day, every moment is a gift. And that by embracing it that way, we are guided, we're directed, and that we are always looked upon in light. Aho.
Oh. To the winds of the south, great serpent, wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed our past the way you shed your skin all at once. Teach us the way of the earth, the beauty way, to touch everyone we touch with beauty. Aho.
Aho. To the sacred winds of the west, the place of the setting sun, the element of fire, the spirit animal of the jaguar, the one who literally swallows the sunset and with passion chases and catches our dreams. May we walk in light. May we be passionate in our lives. May we make real or realize our dreams. And may we walk in courage with no fear. The jaguar has no predators. May we walk with mother, sister, jaguar in peace, in beauty, and in knowing that we are connected to light, we're connected to the fire, we're connected to the divine. Aho.
Oh. To the winds of the north, ancestors, our children's children, come to warm your hands by our fire and whisper what is important for us to remember. Siwarkanti, royal hummingbird, teach us how to keep still while in flight. Guide us to the land of flowers and remind us how to drink from the wisdom of life. Aho.
Aho. And to Mother Earth, to the firm foundation beneath our feet, to the one that gives us everything, that gives us beautiful, nutritious food to eat, that dresses us in colorful textiles, that blows kisses upon our forehead in the breeze. We honor you, Mother. We walk softly on the earth, realizing that you are our mother. We hold the earth as the earth holds us. Aho.
Aho. Father, Son, Grandmother Moon, to the star nations, Great Spirit, you who are known by 1,000 names, and you, the unnameable one, thank you for bringing us together tonight, and thank you for allowing us to sing the song of life. Aho.
Aho. And now the seventh direction, to go within. And might Spirit whisper into your heart, into your ears, the messages that you deserve to hear. May Spirit show us the mountains we only dare dream of, and teach us to fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit. We'll share just a moment in silence as we open our hearts and go within, for within the heart is where all of our answers are, where all of our peace is found. Aho, and we'll just sit for a moment.
Aho.
Ah, awesome. Welcome. Welcome. And sacred space. Sacred space can be opened anywhere at any time. And there are, traditions and patterns. However, I always say there may not be a right or wrong way to do it, as long as your intentions are pure and as long as you come from the heart. And tonight, as we've been gathered, I mean, it's come to our attention that there's questions people have. There's things people are wondering. And we've got 6 questions tonight we're going to go through. And we'll do our best to answer these questions. We don't know if there'll be time at the end for a Q&A. We're going to stay on time and take just the hour. But I trust that as we answer these questions, many of your questions will be answered. And also, you can reach out to Galen. You can reach out to myself. Our contact information is there, email addresses. And I am happy. I won't speak for Galen, but I know we've spoken. I'm happy to connect and discuss anything anyone has if you wish to contact and reach out. So the first question, which can be a loaded question, and I'm going to take just a few minutes and Galen will jump in as well, is what is shamanism? What is it? And that can be a loaded question. I mean, people hear shaman and they immediately say, oh, you must be a plant medicine facilitator. Well, not necessarily. Or, shamans become such a trendy thing. I mean, gosh, I saw shaman soap in Target stores. It's like, what's that? Traditionally, a shaman is one who transcends the worlds. And I speak of the lower world, the dimension here, this third dimension, the middle world, the angelic realms, and even the upper worlds, and different things like that. But let me just share something that I want to read, which may assist in bringing, some clarity to this whole thing. And shaman has become trendy. Gosh, there's shamans everywhere. Everybody's a shaman. Nobody's a shaman. Who do you trust? How do you know? And let me just read this. Shamanism is not a vibe. It's a vow. In today's world, the word shaman has become trendy, an aesthetic, a marketing tool. In the true indigenous and earth-based traditions, shamanism is not self-appointed. It's spirit-appointed. A shaman is not a lifestyle influencer. A shaman is a bridge walker between worlds who carries the pain of the people and walks through death portals so others can heal. In traditional lineages, a shaman is chosen through illness, initiation, or ancestral vision. trained by elders or spirits over years and perhaps even decades, is responsible for serving the collective, not the ego, is bound to the sacred laws of humility and integrity. What we often see these days are people claiming the title after a weekend workshop, spiritual bypassing wrapped in exotic language, capitalism dressed in ceremonial robes. You don't have to call yourself a shaman to be powerful. You don't need feathers, ayahuasca, or spirit animal tattoos. What the world needs are truthful, soul-rooted guides, healers with humility, leaders who walk with reverence, not performance. If you've been initiated, walk with integrity. If you haven't, walk with respect. Honor the lineages, name your sources, ask permission. The medicine doesn't need marketing, it needs guardians. Don't take lightly what was protected with blood. Walk with truth. Let's restore the sacred. So, what is a shaman? Well, it's a lot of different things. And shamanism, to me, is an ancient practice. Galen and I have been trained in the Munai Ki. I call it indigenous spirituality. It's that indigenous principles of peace. Actually, the Munai Ki is translated for the way of love and walking in love. Not romantic love, but that divine love that connects us all. And with that, Galen, I'm going to toss it over to you for your take on that, and we'll just ping pong back and forth all night.
I love what you said. Everything is absolutely perfect. I can only add, and I'm also a clock watcher, so I'm going to try to keep us on task. There's the Munai Ki. These are rites that are transmitted to the individual who is learning or has the great fortune to go into an indigenous tribe and actually receive it directly from those elders. It is also energy medicine. So there's those components. It includes ceremonies, but that's your overview is perfect. It's great. We can go on to the next question, which is what led me, to study shamanism, and how can it benefit shining light parents? And I'll be quick, but I'm also kind of typical Galen. I got to read what I write because I had this dream last night about this answer. And the dream was I was in third grade, and the teacher, it's actually a true story. This is what's sort of interesting, is that it all came back. The teacher told us to ask our parents about our ancestry. And the question was, who am I and where did I come from? So I went home to my parents and I asked my father, who could only could say to me, you're an American. And I said, yeah, but what else? And he said, no, you're an American. And I had to let it go. I was too young to even know what to ask. And many years later, I learned that I was a lot of Irish, English, and French. And baked into that is character, personality, DNA, ancient stories reflecting how to behave, how to feel, how to think. And then there's my current life experience, my struggles, my successes, my traumas, shamanism, and the dream ended. Shamanism, the practice, it's a practice. It's also something that I will say fondly, one learns about it and becomes into relationship with it. So it has shown me as a shining light parent. So to answer the question, kind of coming in the door as a shining light parent, working with a practitioner, I can change my direction in life. I can redefine the path that I'm on, the story that I have created as a result of my history. and I can dream a new future into being. That's a very shamanic concept. This is the medicine, the energy healing with our luminous energy field that surrounds us through different applications, guided by a practitioner. Certainly the Moonai key, those rites can be transmitted, of which there are 9 that have been transmitted to me, as well as there are fire ceremonies that I mentioned, large and very small. In fact, one of the very smallest, we spoke about this before, is a literal candle, a single candle, where the intention is to send unwanted energy back to Mother Earth. Blowing into a piece of paper, a candle, whatever that might be, and burning it and letting it dissolve back into Mother Earth. Our parents, our helping parents heal parents, can experience these things, but what's necessary first is a conversation. It's required for some education to kind of highlight, why are we having this chat? What is it you're looking to heal? What hurts, emotionally or even physically? Have a conversation is required first for that education, and then to set the literal intention for a framework as to what to do next. So hopefully I just highlighted well, I didn't tell you how I got here, what led me here. I did tell you how to become, a participant in as a shining light parent from a healing perspective. But to back it up, I have been on a curious educational course ever since our son passed. Just I mean, I don't have a word for how much I have studied in all kinds of directions, and one thing led to another, to another, to another. And eventually, I think it was in 2024, no, 2022, I discovered shamanism, and I was just curious, what is it? What is it? And people have a hard time explaining it if they are even a shaman. And so it led me to where I am now, and I still engage in other avenues educationally, and other ways to connect with our son, other ways to live. And I've just wrapped this new for me practice into how I carry on day in and day out, day in and day out, which includes other things, sound healing. I know I have my favorite healer here tonight, sound healing, and obviously some, somatic movement with yoga and being out in nature and communing with nature very intentionally these days. It wasn't like that quite the same. There's so much that goes into the why the practice resonates with my soul and my heart. And I've just begun. As much as I know, I've just begun.
That's beautiful, Galen. Thank you. And my journey is the same and yet different. It started for me as a child. I grew up on a little family farm. And when I was about 12, we had a man show up that actually was a little bit down and out. He was new in town. He needed a job. And this man was Cherokee or Chichalegi. And my father, being kind, said, "Well, what do you do? I can provide work. What do you do?" And Ben was his name. And Ben said, "I work with horses." And my father brought him on and actually sent me as a 12-year-old boy, go work with Ben. We had 3 horses that my father said needed to be broken. And Ben looked at my dad and very earnestly said, "I'll never break a horse. I'll tame it. I'll finish it, but I'll never break the spirit of a horse." And this was different. I went with Ben, and he went into the round pen and the corral, and I watched and listened, mesmerized as a 12-year-old boy, as Ben began to sing to the horses in his native tongue. And that was something in me that just said, wow, that I saw that Ben was doing it differently than I'd ever witnessed my father do it. My dad was a Western cowboy. He was going to tie the horse up and get a saddle on it and teach it who was boss. And Ben laughed. He said, "You'll never control a 1,200-pound animal." But he said, "You can become one with it." And I watched Ben train these horses. And ironically, over a weekend, he had all three of them riding and reining and doing these beautiful things. And my father said, "Wow, Ben, what do I owe you?" And Ben actually said, "I want that horse." And he took one of the young horses, and Ben became a friend of the family. And he was actually became a famous horse trainer, horse whisperer, if you will. But that was my introduction to what I call indigenous spirituality. Wow, that was different. I felt something different with that. As life progressed, and of course, Irene read about the accident I had, and half the family was killed instantly in an auto accident. I had a profound near death experience. In that experience, my beliefs, what I thought was expanded. Religion didn't make sense anymore. There was so much more based on what had happened to me. And it put me on a bit of a journey. I studied religions. I studied my own Christian faith. I was looking into everything, but I found myself at a small workshop or gathering up in a little town called Lava Hot Springs, which is sacred native grounds up in Idaho. And it was there that the head shaman there, a woman named Andrea Bernstein, who was trained through the Four Winds Society, and we can get into all that. But she didn't know me from Adam. I had never shared my near-death experience at this point publicly. And she came to me and she looked at me and she said, "You've been there." And I said, I've been where? "I've been in your workshop all day." She said, "No, you've gone to the world of spirits and returned." And I was shocked and touched, like, how did you know that? And she said, "I can see it. You can't hide." And she proceeded to work with me over 7 months or 7 moon cycles, teaching and training me in the Munai Ki and passing on or activating the rights within me. And it was a beautiful spiritual practice. It was private at first. I found something that actually aligned and made sense with this near death experience I had had. And it's almost as if I knew. I'm like, Ben knew. I mean, I knew this. I saw this. I saw this indigenous peace, this indigenous connection. And it was also a way that connected me to the earth in a beautiful way. I can go sit on a rock and have a profound mystical experience. But in connecting to the earth, somehow I became connected to myself. And somehow in connecting to myself, it connected me with that divine source, that light. And that's how I was introduced into it. At one point, as Andrea and I remained friends, and it was about 2012, actually. She said, "It's time for you to take this to your people, to your connections, to your circles, and teach it." And I did. Now, how can this help Shining Light parents? How can this come about when you're in grief? And I'll also add that grief is love. We grieve because we love so deeply. When you're in grief, to have something to hold on to have that connection, to be grounded. And that's even a process. Go out and get your feet in the ground, lay on the grass, let Mother Earth take that grief, take that pain. She knows how to transform it. And that's one way it assisted me in my grief and my healing. Also, going through the process. And when I say the process, the daily process of taking that time to connect. I always say ABC, always be connected, to just take that moment of silence and connect to the divine. And go ahead and hurt. I always say you have to feel it to heal it. And that's where I saw this Munai Ki assisting me. Now, I stepped into this. It was almost, it was 2010. So that's years after the accident. That's 15 years after the accident had happened. Not quite 12 years after the accident happened, but it was a beautiful process that held me while I healed and getting back to the basics. And when someone says shamanism or indigenous spirituality, yes, there's beautiful Native American, South, Central, and North American traditions. I also got in touch with my lineage. I'm not Native American. My DNA is Nordic and Scottish and Welsh, but to lean into those ancient Nordic rituals and the indigenous Celtic rituals. All of this was so rich in me letting go of beliefs and connecting to something real that assisted me to move forward and to heal. And it became a personal spiritual practice of mine. So that's how I got introduced to it. That's how I'm doing it. And that's how it can assist, shining light parents who are in grief, is to take a new look and reframe a way to process, to heal, and be held as you do so.
That's beautiful. And we often speak to nature, getting out in nature. For all the above reasons. It's so much could be said, right? But we're going to keep an eye on the clock. Sorry. It brings up the next question. How do you integrate it into your daily living?
Yeah, and I'll go briefly first. I mean, gosh, I'll open sacred space almost anytime, anywhere. I'll do that privately. I'll do that publicly, but open sacred space. Literally honor the four directions, everything around you, below and above, and then within. And in going into with that within, that's where answers come. Also, in the shamanic practice, it really is about service. What can I do for someone else? How do I serve my tribe, my community, my household, the people around me? And that's a beautiful way. When I've been in deep grief and really been hurting, I've often found relief in doing something for somebody else, just getting out of my own way. And I'll even do this. I'll sit quietly in a space and I might whisper the question. I might ask it in silence within. I might say it out loud. What can I do for someone else today? And I promise you, the images come. You'll think of a friend. You'll have an idea. You'll have something come in, and it doesn't have to be big. It might be call your mother. You haven't talked to her in a week. It might be something like that. But do it. Act upon it. Galen said we dream the world into being, and we do as these ideas flow. And the ideas come, the creativity comes because we're divine beings. It's proof we're divine. Otherwise, how could we do it? The idea, the thought, the whisper that we feel, and then act upon it. And in doing so, it's gotten me through dark nights of the soul. And even on happy, joyful days, it's made them brighter and lighter. And it's a beautiful way to implement that in daily life. Also, the fire ceremonies. I do fire ceremonies quite often. I posted an Instagram picture recently of one of them that we did. And, we release into the fire. We take the grief. One more thing, and I'll pass it over to Galen, but gosh, I've written a letter to the loved one I miss, my son, gosh, dear Griffin, my boy, you broke my heart in ways you'll never imagine. And write it out, write it down, write it out, or draw a picture or do something. And then I always crumple up the paper and I breathe the breath of life into it. I literally, blow into that paper my intention, my breath, my life, and then offer it to the fire. And when it's offered to the fire, it illuminates. It lights up and the smoke goes up into the heavens. And I've often said, wow, that's transformation. I grew up in a conservative Christian home, and there was some verse in biblical or whatever that said, cast your burdens on the Lord and they will be made light. And what I've realized in the fire ceremony is that light means a different thing. I used to believe, well, if I pray about it, it'll get easier to carry. It won't be so heavy. But in the fire ceremony, I realized by really taking that grief or those feelings or that pain or that love, whatever I'm writing down and breathing life into it and offering it to the fire and watching it illuminate, that it becomes light, as in wisdom. It becomes illuminated in such a way that it's like, oh, here's what I'm learning. Instead of why me, I could ask the what am I learning? How is my soul expanding? And also realizing, and this is where I'll wrap up, there is no death. No one dies. In sacred space, Galen said to the ancestors, come, come, join with us, warm your hands by our fire. That portal is open. And the practices, whether you call it indigenous spirituality, shamanism, whatever words you want to use, it opens those portals where we can connect and commune with the people we love who have passed, because they are not gone. They are not dead. They walk with us. They actually honor us. They cheer us on as we go through the process. And as we connect with that, it can be very healing and very powerful to realize they're still with us. They're not dead. There is no death. They live. And although we can't hold them in the physical form, we can feel them in very deep levels.
Thank you. I agree. Oh boy, do I agree with that. And just very briefly, my rituals when I get up apply here too. Only my fire ceremony is a little different. It's very, very simple. I literally use a stick. And I might wake up with something on my mind that I would like to release. I'm so grateful for this very simple process because I didn't know it was possible. I grew up with something was wrong, you're supposed to just will it away, just get over it somehow. And I didn't do that very well. Now I have this opportunity to take whatever's on my heart that I don't want for the day, and I blow it into that stick, and then I light it. I light a fire, a little fire from my candle, and I have another container where I, put the ashes. And in that process, the same activity takes place. I also do a couple of things which are rites, actually. One is called the seer's rite, and the seer's rite is my indicating to my heart and my head, my third eye, and the back of my neck, my parasympathetic nerve, right below my spine. I'm opening up these bands to help me to see. And it's getting better. Another thing I do is another rite called the bands of power. And the bands of power are around me that have these were given to me, these as transmissions. And the bands of power are protection. And they go from my crown to my root chakra. They have different colors. And I'm identifying with them. I'm aware of them. And I speak to them. And I ask for protection as I go out the door. I can make them larger or smaller. And essentially, I'm walking around with an energy body that is very healthy. And so at a minimum, I do those things, and along with some meditation. And then off I go. It doesn't take long, but it's a way to start my day. And eventually I might come back and do some actual journeying meditations that are different. But suffice to say, that's how the day begins. So when I get to incorporate other things into my day, I've set myself up to receive in ways that otherwise I don't think I would, because I have baggage. I have something that's on my mind from yesterday or something that's still ruminating and bothering me, but I choose to release these very intentionally. So we're going to move to the next question, which is, how is it accessible to learn? How do we find out about shamanism? And I know I want to share 3 different books for starters, not to mention 3 different resources that you can find online. Let me start with the first book that I've talked about before, Shaman Healer Sage by Alberto Villaldo. He founded the Four Winds Society. I almost said the Four Seasons Hotel. Sorry, that was. And this book is fascinating because it describes his beginning when he went down to Peru, when he worked with the Incan indigenous, and how he saw energy for the very first time move from this woman who was dying and how it left her body, and it was striking. But it's a very, very good story. Another one is excellent, called Living Grieving. Karen Johnson, Living Grieving. Using energy medicine to alchemize grief and loss. When I went to Peru in 2024 with the Four Winds, the people I was with kept saying, "You've got to meet this woman. You've got to meet this woman. Her child passed, her child passed." That's it. They just kept. So it took me 2 years to get to her. And I had the wonderful session with her. She's terrific. She's faculty of Four Winds, but her experience in her child passing is what this is about. And she's created a way in which any one of us can follow along and discover ways that can help to alchemize the grief. So this is really good. Karen Johnson, Living Grieving. Okay. And then finally, just many, many more upstairs. The Four Insights. This is excellent too. Wisdom, Power, and Grace of the Earth Keepers. Written by Alberto Villaldo. It's terrific. Give it a read. This practice is accessible. I've heard it said that Four Winds is too expensive, for example. Four Winds offers lots of online free 1-hour webinars introducing different concepts. So if you go to their webpage, that's number one webpage. Number two would be Michael Harner. Michael Harner was the founder of another group called the Foundation for Shamanic Studies. So you go online to look that up. He has passed, but his organization is still alive and well. He was an anthropologist. Alberto Villaldo was a medical anthropologist and a psychotherapist. But aside from that, I mean, it's just amazing the backgrounds of people that come into this is different. And then finally, Sandra Ingerman, she's very big in this field. Her website is sandraingerman.com. She loves teaching about journeying, which is the shamanic meditation for different directions. There are podcasts. There's a lot that you can you can explore and discover. And I think here's the invitation. If you're not sure you're exploring or discovering the right direction, reach out to one of us and get a reality check on, is this a good place to go? Is this something I should pursue? So I wanted to bring that up. And so this is all about how is it accessible to learn for all of us? Any additions?
Just a couple. I mean, yes, the Four Winds. I mean, Alberto Vivaldo, he's on YouTube. Look into this if you have interest, and there are free things and things to offer. There are a couple additional books that I enjoy and often recommend. One is The Wisdom of the Shamans.
Oh, yes.
This is, kind of out of the Four Agreements and the Fifth Agreement and that family of shamanic wisdom, and goes like that. Another one that has just come out, and this is actually by a dear friend of mine, and I'm not recommending it because he's a dear friend of mine, this is Darren Perry. He is the chairman or the chief of the Northwestern Shoshone Nation. And he's an incredible man. And his book, Tending to the Sacred, but I love the subtitle, How Indigenous Wisdom Will Save the World. Yeah. And boy, the world is an interesting place these days. And leaning into that is a big deal. I myself teach a course. It'll be starting on February 17th. Email me. The email's there. This is something where we will meet once a month over Zoom for 7 moon cycles, 7 months, and it'll be something that takes place there if you're called to it. Here's the thing: if you're called to something, if your spirit calls, send an email, and that's another way where there can be an introduction and something that goes that way. Interesting thing about February 17th, it is as the fire horse enters. It's the fire horse of the new year of 2026, and mixed in with what may be called shamanism. Gosh, the stars, the sky, what's happening in all of that is part of it. But that's a way that it can be accessible. Number one, trust your heart, trust your instincts. Nature holds all the wisdom we can possibly get. I sit and watch the birds and the deer, and it's my favorite thing to do. I tell my sons, trust your instincts. That's what will guide you. That's what will lead you. And it never leads you astray.
That's awesome. Really glad you're offering that. It's terrific. It's wonderful. The last question, unless if there was another, forgive me. Is there a downside to shamanism?
I like I say, it's become trendy. This is sacred wisdom.
Yeah.
And should be treated as such. There's a lot of people out there, and trust again. Trust. Shamanism isn't a weekend, psilocybin journey. That's not what it is. And it may have nothing to do with plant medicine at all. My shaman said, "Hey, you've already taken the journey. Are you called to that?" And I'm not a big plant medicine guy. I have no judgment of that. But there are people that may take advantage of others. There are people that may be pretenders and step in. And trust your instincts. You'll know who you're called to or who gets to show up. And I do recommend the Four Winds. That's a very credible society that does this very well. The downside is don't be wooed away like the thing we read right up front, that shamanism is not a vibe, it's a vow. And you'll feel it, you'll know it. And shaman is such a loaded, trendy word right now that I even say, well, indigenous spirituality, getting back to the roots of those that live close to the earth and how nature informs them and how it can inform us, and how we can all embody that through humility, through integrity, and really embrace the principles of peace that bring this about. It's interesting that even the United States Constitution was derived from the Iroquois peace agreement that they had, but we only used about a third of that. In that agreement, it also mentioned the allegiance we have to the earth, the allegiance we have to each other. It wasn't about allegiance to a flag or a governmental system. It was an allegiance to the sacred ground we stand on and to the sacred pact we have with each other to lock arms, to walk in beauty, to walk in love, and look for that. Look for what brings us closer together. Look what connects us. Look what brings compassion and oneness, even within yourself. Helping parents heal. Everybody on the call has had someone pass that they love, they miss, they hurt. There's peace in that, and there's beauty in that. And you're only experiencing that because you are the noble and great ones. You're the one in your soul's plan somewhere where you said, yeah, I want to do that. And that might be a hard thing to hear at this point, but there are no accidents, and there's divine order in all of it. And if shamanism or indigenous spirituality can allow you to walk through that in a more beautiful way, or expand your soul and recognize how and why your soul is expanding, and to connect with that deceased loved one where they truly can come and warm their hands by your fire and be with you to guide you and whisper into your heart the way to go and the way to healing. It's a beautiful thing. So there could be a downside there only for me because it's so trendy. There's so many people, there's so many things going on. Trust your instincts and your heart will know. Your heart will know.
That's perfect. And I think too, yeah, just the term shaman, who, if somebody calls himself a shaman, you want to you want to ask more questions. There's no place for ego in this practice. Not unlike being a medium, who's an evidential medium. There's no place for ego. It's our relationship is to spirit as well. Spirit's in charge, 100%. But that was a beautiful answer, and I wanted just be mindful of the time and take a peek real quick because we've answered, I think, our questions that came forward before we started. Jessica asked, it seems like you both were called to this after years of processing your grief. Do you think this was crucial? Sorry, I can't quite read. Crucial to experience before you explored shamanism? I'll quick answer, just yeah. I think early grief needs a lot of love and a lot of focus on just some initial healing and breathing and kind of just getting surrounded, for me anyway, surrounded by people that knew what I went through. I personally could study, but I wasn't studying. I was reading. I was learning about where did he go? Oh, and I didn't know I could connect with him. Once I discovered that was a possibility, I wanted some more of that. So my little steps led here, but this was not where I could have even possibly gone in the beginning. As my dear friend Kathy McManus, I say this frequently, said to me, Galen, one day you're going to learn a new language. And she's right. I learned a new language about spirit, surrounding spirit, and then it became another. She said, it's not going to be a story always about Weston. It's going to be a story about you. And now I'm starting to understand that, because once I was able to put the grief into a bit of its own container and also let it float away and still know that it's going to be there for the rest of my life, then I could start exploring other avenues to grow in, to learn from, just let my soul run, if you will. So yeah, not in the beginning. Not in the beginning. I didn't know my name, much less, how to get to the grocery store in the beginning. Shamanism was not on the docket at all. What other questions we have? A couple of minutes still.
Yeah, we've got a few, and I don't know that it is necessary to go through a long, grieving process to land in, in indigenous spiritual practices. I mean, every journey is so unique. Every soul is so different. It's your perfect path, and walk it. And if it leads to that, great. It might not, and that's okay too. That's okay too.
Yeah, exactly. Any other questions? Because we do have surprisingly 5 minutes.
I'll look back a little bit. I wanted to just say that for those of you who went to our last conference or the conference before and got to experience when Jeffrey did the sacred opening ceremony, for me, that could have been enough for the whole conference. Like that was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And I mean that with all my heart, Jeffrey. That was so beautiful and so powerful. I've
Thank
never felt so much love in such a concentrated place. And I don't know how to describe it. So I hope if anyone's on the fence about coming to the conference, just to experience this ceremony is so well worth it.
And we'll be doing that. One point on that I'll bring up, because the conference is held at Wild Horse Crossing, which is on native land. And when Irene and Elizabeth spoke to me very early on about, could we open sacred space? Could we do this? I said, absolutely. However, let's talk to the elders. let's reach out to those whose land this is, and who have been there for generations upon generations. And Irene arranged that we could meet with Tiffany, the cultural liaison of the tribe there, the Maricopa. And it was so beautiful as we met. And I said, gosh, perhaps your elders would open sacred space. Perhaps that would be the appropriate thing on your land and in your home. And as we talked, they said, no. Well, they asked, how would you do it? And I said, well, here's how I would do it. And they said, well, that's how we would do it. But it was interesting how they opened their hearts and opened their doors to the conference, to all of us. And we all come from diverse, different backgrounds. But it's their home and it is sacred ground. And they said the only thing they wanted us to do was to remind people that they're still here. I mean, you want to talk about a plight of challenges? Mm-hmm. The native indigenous people of the Americas, they've walked that long walk and still do in so many ways. And so when Tiffany said, remind everyone at the conference that we're still here, that we've overcome it, that we have lived through it, and that we're still here with our indigenous spirituality, with our ancient practices, and with the sacred things that connect us to the divine and allow us to live. And Galen, again, to dance the dance of life and sing the song of life. So I didn't mean to fill that in, but it was a beautiful experience to do that. We'll be doing it again at the conference in August. And I look forward to rubbing shoulders with everyone and doing those ceremonies in such peace. And I promise you, this is another thing that was talked about with the tribe there. Wow, so many spirits come in when helping parents heal. Right. Come together. Let's make sure those portals are opened and that can be enjoyed, and that also those portals are closed off and people can go home and everybody gets to be exactly where they belong. So there you go.
Real quick, thank you. That was amazing. Deb, you asked about how do I find the Spirit Keepers class. In the chat, you'll see contact Jeff, okay? Jeffery C. Olsen at Gmail. Take that email down and email him to get information about the class, okay?
It's very interesting, Jeffrey. You were starting the class on Carly's 13th angel date.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't make it. This is the stuff you can't make up. This is the stuff.
Yeah, this has just been perfect. I mean, you guys have anything closing? We still have another minute. I could keep you here all night. It's so beautiful. I feel so wonderful in this space with both of you, with all of you.
Yeah, just share my love. Just send love to all of you, and you are healing. The body knows how to heal. The soul wants and knows the way to heal. So allow it. Allow yourself to heal and choose joy. Make a choice to choose joy and to feel your loved ones near.
Galen, would you like to add anything?
Oh, I'm just, thank you for coming tonight. And Jeffrey, thank you for the opportunity to share this space with you. What a privilege for me. Yes. Thank you.
Elizabeth will get this posted on YouTube for those that couldn't be here tonight. And thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for being here, helping me tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We always ask everyone, please unmute, say thank you and good evening. And again, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
You such a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.